What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today it's time to talk about the Gundam Beta Edition. It's time to talk about what's going on in terms of the prices of some of these cards and how much you should be paying. I've been tracking this, as you saw on this channel. I did pick up my own Beta Edition. I have done an opening on this channel. So, yeah. It's exciting. The game's not out for a while yet. All we've got is the Beta Edition. So we're going to take a look at what is going on with the Beta Edition. And one thing that must be borne in mind right now, there is a lot that we don't know. So the biggest card in the set is the Wing Gundam Legendary Plus. That the plus means it's an alternate art. So it is the Legendary Plus version of the alternate art version of the Legendary Wing Gundam. And it's an extremely rare card. It's an extremely expensive, valuable card. But we don't know what the deal with it is in terms of whether it's coming out in the full release. We, I believe, have been told that some of the artworks are going to be exclusive, but we don't know which ones. So this Wing Gundam, right? If it is exclusive to this Beta Edition, if it is only ever found in the Beta Edition, oh my word, this is going to be an expensive card. If it's reprinted in the first set when it gets released, it's not going to be that expensive. We also don't really know what's playable right now. And look, there are people like Eggman who are doing wonderful work putting deck lists together, but all we've got is the Beta Edition. It's not a very big set. Things are going to be changing very, very rapidly. So, we don't really know what's good right now. And what's good right now is going to change massively when we actually get to the first full set. So, the fact that we don't know what's exclusive and we don't know what's playable, they do make a big difference. So, with that borne in mind, let's start off with Wing Gundam. And TCG Player have got it down as a $1,200 card. But of course, the numbers that have been sold are very, 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 very low. So that doesn't really help very much. So what about eBay? Well, the good news is that you can pick up a Japanese version, one sold for $225, which is still extremely expensive, don't get me wrong, but $225 compared to, $1,200, that is an awful lot cheaper. So if you just want this for the artwork, might I suggest trying to track down the Japanese version of the card, which is significantly cheaper. If we're looking for an English version of the card, there are not many that have sold over on eBay. The amount of English versions that have sold are very, very, very low. And there is one here that actually sold for $1,500. An actual sale, not a best offer or any of that. The most recent sold actually sold for $1,500, which is even more than TCG Player. So does that mean then that it is actually a $1,500 card? Probably not. Because although I've just shown you one that sold for $1,500, and it did, I literally just showed it to you, the reality is there are two other solds that sold for about $750. Now, which one of those is more real? I will say the $750 were older sales. So they sold 2 weeks ago, whereas like the $1,500 sold in the past couple of days. So there's two things that we could look at here. Number one, it is entirely possible that it was a $700 card, but the hype is getting out of control, and now it's a $1,500 card. Option number two, it's nearer a $700-800 card, and there are a few people that are paying above the odds and skewing the numbers up a bit. Either way, this is a big card in the set, and if you pull one of these, you should be very, very, very happy indeed. Like I've said though, if it turns out that on the full release this is in the main set, the price of this is going to come down. Don't get me wrong, you can see there is a beta symbol in the top right hand corner, as there is for all the Beta Edition cards. So even when the full set comes out, if this artwork is reprinted exactly the same, you'll still know which are the Beta Edition. But I'm also telling you that even though it won't have the Beta Edition stamp, if we get a straight reprint of this, the price is going to come down. So that's the big one. What's the next biggest one? Well, the next biggest one is Overflowing Affection. Now, it could be because of the artwork. It could be because draw 2, discard 1 for a level 2 1-cost card is incredibly good. We don't really know. Although I suspect it may well be because of the artwork. Now, again, very important to note that this could be reprinted in the main version exactly the same without the beta symbol, and that would change things. But again, we need to ask, is this really a $600 card like TCG Player says? The answer basically is yes, with a bit of a caveat. So here's 3 sales in a row that are all basically $600. Like literally 3 in a row, 600, 604, but with a best offer, 604. So 3 in a row, all at pretty much exactly 600. That would tell us that actually that 600 is pretty much dead on. But the last 2 sales from the UK were about $900 and $1,200. Maybe that's because they're more recent and the price is going up. Maybe that's because in the UK the price is a bit higher and the other sales are from like the US and Australia. Maybe it's just harder to find in the UK. Either way, $600 seems to be fair. But again, you'll notice that the whole $600, they were all sold around about the 4th of Feb, after the first wave of pre-releases, but then the more recent sales are quite a bit more expensive. But that is your number 2 card, your number 2 alternate art. Now, after this, I'll be honest with you, there's another 5, but they all seem to mash together quite a bit. So, Gundam Aerial, according to TCG Player, is about a $490 card. Again, the amount of sales here is extremely low, so you need to bear that in mind. But actually, the last 3 sales we've got here are all around about 800 to 1,000. These are the last 3 sales on eBay, actual sales, not best offer accepted and all of that. And when I say sales, I mean the sales of the English version. That's very important. Because, like I say, there's a Chinese version, Japanese version. They are cheaper. So actually, although TCG Player has got Overflowing Affection as the number 2 card, there's an argument this is. But then if we take the more recent sales, then Overflowing Affection actually jumps it. Because they were, up to like 1,200. And the point is, the prices are all over the place. Nobody knows exactly how much these cards are worth, but they're all a bit ridiculous. Now, there is actually one more legendary alternate art that is available in the beta edition, and it's just Gundam, which is a bit more awkward to search for because you just search Gundam. And they're all Gundam. Gundam is the game, the property, all of that. But TCG Player got it listed for $450, and the last 2 sales on eBay are $550. So I think it's fair to assume this one is basically $550. You may notice here that the TCG Player results aren't that great, and it's nothing against TCG Player. TCG Player is a great website that I use on a daily basis to check the prices of various games. I love TCG Player. The reason why TCG Player just doesn't work here is because there have just not been many sales of these alternate arts. They are very, 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 very rare, so there just aren't many sales of them, and that means that the data they've got to go on, and it's a website predicated on data, just isn't particularly great. Soletta Mercury is listed at $445 over on TCG Player, but if we have a look at the last 3 sales, it's generally about $400, but there's a UK one that sold for $700. So I think one of the things we need to learn here is that the price of these cards are actually more expensive in the UK than they are elsewhere. That's just a thing. The UK sales are more expensive than other territories. I've shown you enough now to say that that's actually a pretty good trend. One of my favorites here, Char Zaku Mark II. I love Char Zaku. It's a very nice card from a playability standpoint. Artwork-wise, it's all right. This is one of the more reasonable ones. Couple of sales here for $450 and $300. TCG Player are listing it at $425, which is largely in line with these. But you'll notice we've gone quite a way down here, and we're still looking at $300-400, and these are for the less sought after of the alternate arts. These cards have gotten very, 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 very expensive. Two more I haven't shown you, so honestly, seems a little bit rude at this point if we don't at least just finish off. Ailstrike Gundam it's about 400 over on TCG Player. If we have a look at the alternate arts over on eBay, you can see it's about a $500 card. Again, this is one of the least sought after, and it's about a $500 card. What I will tell you is, if this game takes off, and that's a big if, and if any of these alternate arts are exclusive to the beta edition, not just the symbol but the artwork, again, a very big if, you are going to have some very expensive cards. But again, there are some big ifs. The other alternate art, the lowest one, Banniger Links, is about $300 over on TCG Player. And if we look at the sales here, it's about $300, $250 to $350. This is, of the alternate arts, the worst one around. But, I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. It's still a $350 card. That's still pretty big. Of course, there's one other thing that you can get in the beta edition, and that is the foil resources. Oh, yes. So, that's a big question, and these are apparently rarer than the alternate arts, and they are listed over on TCG Player for like $2,000. Actually, the last couple of sales were like $600 and $350. There aren't many sales of these, but these are actually selling a lot more reasonably than I would expect. I was expecting these to be absolutely absurd, especially because these are going to be, playable in every single deck, because you need a set of resources. Actually, not so bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not so bad at all. For what it's worth, the legendary cards are all around $30. It's really quite nice. Like, some of them are selling for more, don't get me wrong, but they all seem to be somewhere around $30-ish, which makes me very, very happy because, well, I mean, to be fair, you do get them in, like, apparently it's seeded, so you get one of each in every box, which makes me very happy. I wanted one of every card, as you saw during my opening. And don't get me wrong, some of them are going for more here or there, but $30 seems to be about the average. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Have you picked up the Gundam Beta Edition? Did you pull an alternate art? Are you going after any of these? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Gundam and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.